We are back. It's another episode of the Field of 68's 2023 NBA Draft Prospect Profiles. My name is Greg Waddell. He's Rob Doster, and we are talking Noah Clowney, Alabama forward, 6'10", 210 pounds, 10 points a game, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. He is a shooter, Rob. 28% on 3 attempts per game from three, 65% from free throw, less than 1 block per game. But, Rob, you love this. He's one of the youngest players in this draft. He turns 19 on the night of the NBA draft. Do you love Noah Clowney?
I love the theory of Noah Clowney, and that's basically what you're drafting. Is what you're drafting is what he can be in theory, right? He is a guy that is 6'10" with a 7'3" wingspan. He is a guy that is I don't want to say very good, but he is a good rim protector. That is a really good athlete. That has shown flashes of being able to guard on the perimeter, being able to stay in front of point guards in switching situations. He is a guy that has a stroke that looks good enough. It didn't go in quite as much as you would want it to, but he's a guy that in theory can be a shooter. And when you look at the archetype of what NBA teams want in terms of role players, they want guys that are 6'10" with length, that can make threes, that can guard 3, 4, maybe even 5 different positions. And I think down the line, that is what you're betting on Noah Clowney to be, right? The name that immediately pops to me for what this archetype is Jaren Jackson, right? Now, I'm not saying Noah Clowney is going to be Jaren Jackson. That's not the comparison that I'm making. But those are the players that NBA teams are looking for. Noah Clowney can be something in that archetype, something in the range of a Jeremy Grant if everything comes together for him. A guy that can guard different positions. You can have him be a small ball 5 if you need him to. He can be a floor spacer as a three-point shooter, and he can be a floor spacer as a lob target in the dunker spot. He is a guy that had a couple of possessions last year where he did some really, really impressive things in terms of being able to switch out on the perimeter, stay in front of guards, stay in front of wings. He had some impressive blocks, some chase down blocks. He had some situations where he rotated over and protected the rim. He blocked a couple dunks. One against the Auburn at home really stood out to me. So in theory, in terms of what Noah Clowney can be 4 years down the road, that is why I think that he's a guy that is going to end up being picked somewhere in that 25 to 35 range. What he is right now in this moment is a decent college basketball player that if he came back to Alabama, I don't think would be an all SEC player next season. This is all long-term potential for him. You're drafting him because in 3 years you could see him being a very valuable role-playing piece for one of the most important and high leverage positions that you can find in the NBA right now. I think that is just as simple as that.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it makes sense. He's so young, right? Like, he's obviously not a finished product. He's not going to be a finished product for probably like 6-7 years, let alone 2-3. So if you are a team that has the luxury of essentially drafting a guy that you can expect potentially 0 minutes from next year, if you're trying to win playoff games, then fine. Like, it's a good lottery pick. It's a good long-term investment. I don't love the in theory guys. That's just a pool of players I don't love. And Noah Clowney is like the prototypical in theory guy. Everything about his game is theoretical right now. He showed flashes of being a rim protector. He averaged less than 1 block a game. He showed flashes of being a shooter. He didn't shoot 30% from 3, didn't shoot 70% from free throw. Like, it looks pretty, like, and part of that to me, especially with the shooting, is because he played in a Nate Oates system. Like, even if he can't shoot, he's going to be told to stand in the corner and shoot. That's what Alabama wants you to do. And over half his shots were threes this year. Again, that's a Nate Oates product. What does that look like in a totally different system in the NBA? Is he still going to shoot 55% of his shots from 3 and make 28% still? Like, I just don't know that I see that there. I don't think
let's be clear. He's not playing in an NBA game next season. He is a guy that you're drafting him and he's going to spend a year in the G League at minimum, maybe 2, right? Like,
yeah, maybe a whole career though.
Yeah. Like that. Well, that's the thing about it is he is very raw. Like, he's also not a guy. He wasn't a McDonald's All-American. He was like a top 85 prospect, something like that. coming out of college. Like nobody had him as like a potential one and done coming out of high school. He didn't go to one of these powerhouse prep schools. Like he wasn't at IMG Academy. He played for his local high school in Spartanburg, South Carolina, right? He is a guy that I think is starting to learn, one, how good he can be, and two, what it takes to like have to play that role. Like I promise you that when he was playing high school basketball, like he wasn't switching out on ball screens. He wasn't being asked to guard guards. Like what you do with big guys when you are in high school basketball at that level, when you're not at like IMG Academy, is you just kind of put them around like by the basket and say, block everything that comes near you. Right. That's what he did defensively. So he's learning what it's going to take to have to do some of that. And it was very clear to me that he was incredibly raw when you watch a lot of the tape from Alabama on the defensive end of the floor this season. It was also very clear to me that when it was right, it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Look at what this dude, that he's 6'10", 7'3", and moving like that and staying in front of him. So I get why you would want to invest some draft capital in him. Personally, if I'm an NBA organization and I'm picking in the late 20s, I'm not taking him with the first round. If I'm a playoff team, I'm not taking him with the first round pick because I'm going to lock in a guy that I know can contribute and help me win and get me from being like the conference finals exit to being a team that's going to get to the NBA finals. Like I need that. You need that extra 5% to be able to help you go win a championship. I don't think that Clowney is going to be able to do that for like 3 years. But if you can get him in like the 30s and you can get him on and sign like a lot of these second round picks, you can get him on like a 4-year deal where 2 years are guaranteed. The third year is a team option, or third year is partially guaranteed. Fourth year team option, something like that, and pay him NBA minimum salary and then stick him in the G League and let him develop down there for 1, 2, 3 years and see what you got when he wakes up and he's 21 and he's put on 20 pounds and he's kind of figured out the stroke and he's learned some things defensively, and you end up getting a Jeremy Grant out of it with a second round pick. Like I think there's a ton of value in that and swinging for a home run there. Does that make sense? Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field 68 FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.
It does. You can't microwave Noah Clowney. You can't put him in for 45 seconds and pull him out and expect him to taste great, right? You need to put him in the oven.
He's a brisket, man. He's a brisket.
Give him 2 hours. Let put him on broil. We'll see what happens. But I just think like up and down on his profile and in the film, like a lot of it just feels too good to be true to me. And I would feel a lot better about the gamble you're or we're proposing, right? Which isn't even a gamble. Like this dude, he's 6'10", like all the measurables are there, right? It's all what could be. It's all hypothetical. So it's not a gamble to take a pick in the late 30s and spend it on Noah Clowney. That's not a gamble. That's a low risk move. Even if it doesn't work out, who cares? It's a second round pick. But I would feel a lot better about doing that as an NBA GM if he had one skill or one thing he does on the basketball court that I felt comfortable he would translate to the NBA level in a great or elite way. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, he's pretty well-rounded. He's a good athlete. He's not a great athlete. He's a hypothetical rim protector. not a productive one in college. He's a hypothetical shooter. He's not a playmaker. He's not a facility. Like, the coolest thing about him that jumps out of film is his switchability. Like, he can guard the perimeter a little bit for how big he is. But even that, there were some cracks in that. Like, he got exposed by faster guards. Auburn specifically had one game where they just kept picking on him and putting their fastest little guards on him, and they were blowing by him. So, like, I'm all for, he has a lot he can do. I just don't know that there's one thing he already does. And I'd feel safer about it if there was that one thing. I got to throw comps back at you here. You threw out Jaren Jackson, which I hate. That's
not a comp. I'm talking like that's what I want to get this officially on the record. I am not comparing Noah Clowney to Jaren Jackson. I'm saying that is what the archetype is for what teams are looking for.
That's a horrible archetype. But if there is somebody that archetype, someone's going to draft him thinking maybe he's Jaren Jackson, and he's going to be Deontay Davis, a different Michigan State 6'10" skinny dude who's out of the league, who is supposed to be a shot blocker that can shoot, and in 2 years he's out of the league. My actual comp I had written down before I just had to get petty with you was this is, I think, almost a best case scenario for Noah Clowney. Jeremy Sohan without the playmaking, which is a huge part of Jeremy Sohan, but like, he's just a frame dude that like is a physical body that can throw around and potentially be an all league defender.
I got another one.
I don't think the shot gets there ever. I got
another one for you. Which of the McDaniels brothers was the one on the Timberwolves this year? Was it Jalen or Jaden?
Yes, I think it was Jalen, right?
Whichever one was on the Timberwolves that should have made an all defensive team. That's I think what your dream is for Noah Clowney, right? Someone who is a very, very good, versatile defensive weapon that's going to knock down an open three, that's going to be on your second team, that's going to, close out some games because of what you can get from him defensively. And it's probably not going to happen for 2 or 3 years. But I mean, you say there isn't an elite skill or a translatable skill. I think the fluidity, the versatility, and what he can be with a little bit of coaching and a little bit of development on his body is something where I understand people that are going to take a shot on him. I personally would not do it with a first round pick, but I understand people that would take a shot at him, and I absolutely 100% see the upside.
What's the highest mark he ever shoots from three for an NBA team in one season?
35.7%, assuming that he actually gets to an NBA team.
The 0.7. I love it. I'll take under 30. I'll take the under.
Under 30.
I don't buy the shot. I don't. All right. Clearly, we are a little bit divided on Noah Clowney. If you want to see us be divided on more prospects, you can do that. We have 50 of these episodes leading up to the NBA draft. Check the description to see them all. And make sure you come back and watch our live mock draft. That's going to take place a week before the NBA draft takes place. For Rob Doster, I'm Greg Waddell. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.